If the goal of government is to be the policeman of the world, you lose liberty. And if the goal is to promote liberty, you can unify all segments. The freedom message brings us together. It doesn't divide us. I believe that when we overdo our military aggressiveness, what it does, it actually weakens our national defense. I mean, we stood up to the Soviets. They had 40,000 nuclear weapons. Now we're fretting day in and day night about third world countries that have no army, navy, or air force, and we're getting ready to go to war. But the principle, the moral principle, is that of defending liberty and minimizing the scope of government.
Is war ever justifiable?
Sure. If you're attacked, you have a right and an obligation to defend our country, and the Constitution is very clear on that. So yes, in defense, I do not believe there's ever a moral justification to start the war.
So World War II, we were justified.
Sure.
Because of Pearl Harbor.
Right.
How about going into Afghanistan after September 11th?
I voted for that authority to go after those responsible for 9/11. I was very unhappy with what happened because we neglected to pursue Osama bin Laden. We didn't
but
pursue.
We were justified because he was there.
He was there,
by that country.
And they committed a violent act. But that did not mean that they had the authority to occupy and try to transform Afghanistan, which is a problem that has not gone away yet. It's going to be growing. That is a perpetual problem for us because we did not do what we were supposed to do.
The Korean War?
Totally unjustified.
Kosovo?
Absolutely unjustified.
Vietnam?
A horror.
We should just not have gotten involved.
Right.
How about the first Iraq War? They invade Kuwait. We should just say, not our business?
It was a border dispute. As a matter of fact, we told Saddam Hussein, who was our ally when we went into Iran, he was encouraged by us. So he told us, he let us know,
then
that
he might
do
have invaded the next country and the next country.
Well, maybe they should do something about it. I bet Israel would have done something about it, and I bet Saudi Arabia maybe would have talked to Israel. I think if it would have been left to the region, they might have taken care of Saddam Hussein in 1990, and we wouldn't have the problems we have today.
My personal belief is that marriage is a religious ceremony, and it should be dealt with religiously. The state really shouldn't be involved. The state, both federal and state-wise, got involved mostly for health reasons 100 years or so ago. But this should be a religious matter. All voluntary associations, whether they're economic or social, should be protected by the law. But to amend the Constitution is totally unnecessary.
You would legalize marijuana, cocaine, heroin?
I would get the government out of regulating all those substances, and I would allow the states to deal with problems, whether children should have them, whether children can buy cigarettes and alcohol or hard drugs, marijuana, and different states would probably do different things. The first federal law against marijuana was 1938, and they did it through high taxation because they knew they didn't have authority to say that you're not allowed to smoke marijuana. Today, it's gone berserk. The federal government comes in and overrules a state that has legalized marijuana to be used for very sick people, AIDS and cancer, and they're getting some help. The federal government comes in, puts people in prison that are sick because they're using it for medical reasons, and they've never committed a violent crime. That's how absurd the war on drugs has become.
So you're suggesting that I'm not electable and the Republicans don't want me because I'm a strict fiscal conservative? Because I believe in civil liberties? Why should we not be defending civil liberties? And why should we not be talking about foreign policy that used to be the part of the Republican Party? Mr. Republican Robert Taft didn't even want us to be in NATO. And you're saying now that we have to continue to borrow money from China to finance this empire that we can't afford? Let me see if I get this right. We need to borrow $10 billion from China, and then we give it to Musharraf, who's a military dictator who overthrew an elected government, and then we go to war, we lose all these lives, promoting democracy in Iraq. I mean, what's going on here?
Our campaign is all about freedom, prosperity, and peace. We allow our nation to be overtaxed and overregulated and overrun by bureaucrats. The founders would be ashamed of us for what we're putting up with.
We are now, as a country, have troops stationed in over 130 countries of the world. One of the solutions that I would propose, and one of the things a president could do, is bring the troops home. Of course, that doesn't mean just bringing them home from Iraq and the Middle East. It also means bringing them home from Korea, bringing them home from Europe, bringing them home from Japan.
Not want to run your life, your family, or your religious beliefs I do not want to run the economy, and I do not want to police the world. I don't know how, I don't have the authority, and it doesn't work. Join us in this great campaign for freedom and liberty. Thank you very much.